One of the things that I do at the end of every year is I kind of take stock of, what has transpired, what has worked, and what has maybe not worked. And I spend a lot of time reflecting on things just to learn from my past, but also to plan forward. And we're trying to be intentional in that. So in this episode, I want to reflect on our journey as a company, celebrate some of our wins, and then begin looking ahead at a year to come as well. So that's what we're doing this episode, and hopefully you can kind of learn from this and maybe apply some of it to you as well. Now, 2021 was an interesting year for us. As I look back, both personally and professionally, I have a lot to be grateful for, and I think that's what it boils down to. There's always something, I don't care how bad it gets, this is something I've learned. There's always something you'd be grateful for, and that is always a great place to start. Some of the lessons from 2021 is to know your core values, right? And because it helps you understand yourself better, what's important to you, really helps clarify decisions and make better decisions, such as, business decisions, but also hiring better team members and aligning yourselves with partners who see eye to eye. The other one is really be intentional about what you value, right? The value of your time is so important. The value of freedom that we have is so important. So what is the value of your time? How can you best spend your time? And how can you maybe delegate, automate, or eliminate things that aren't your highest and best use or you don't enjoy? And this is one of the reasons I hired a COO. Of course, in hindsight, I should have done it a long time ago. But who do you need to hire? Do you need to hire that VA, someone else? And also, what are your priorities, right? If you know your values and you value your time, then you want to prioritize that. So we had David Meltzer on the podcast, and he does executive coaching for 5 minutes, and he charges like $1,500 for this. Well, man, if you got 5 minutes, you're paying $1,500 for it. You better prioritize what you're going to squeeze into that 5 minutes, right? So what are your priorities, and what is your time worth, and what does freedom mean to you? If you're financially free right now, what are you doing with it, right? But if you're not, what will you do with it, right? Because it's not about money. What is it for you? I want to share with you some plans that we have for next year. Now, our vision is to empower humanity to become financially free so that we can make a difference together. I think financial freedom is a very important component of really empowering all of us to live a life of significance. Because if you're working 50 plus hours a week, it's really hard to live into your God-given purpose. It's just a matter of practicality, and I'm a practical guy. So our mission, that's our vision, is to basically change humanity to become financially free in some way. That's a big one. We probably won't achieve that in our lifetime, but our mission is to help 1,000 families become financially free in the next 5 years. Now, with that, we could potentially do. And it all starts with the first deal, and that is due to the law of the first deal, which I talk a lot about. And if you do your first deal, the second and third will follow essentially automatically, and you will have replaced your income. And everything, it hinges on that first deal. So since we started tracking first deals, we have helped 160 individuals do their first deals, and 32 have quit their jobs. Now, we have discovered since then that these numbers are low, severely low, because we don't always know when one of our deal makers does a deal out there. And worse, if they have done a deal, we lose touch with them. And they may have quit their job and sail into the sunset, start a podcast or write a book, and we don't know about it. So we think that we've actually made a much bigger impact than we have, and we're going to try to make a concerted effort in 2022 to get a more accurate count. But even if it's only 160 individuals over the last 4 years, where we started tracking this in 2017, it's an average of 3 people doing their first deal per month. And that's due to our content, our programs, the podcast, the book, everything. And that's really, really encouraging. On the other hand, we also have more work to do. Now, the good news is we believe that anyone can become financially free with real estate. So next year, we want to reach more people with our message, right? Anyone who has read Rich Dad Poor Dad and wants to flip a house or landlord or burr something, okay? I want to talk to you. I want to talk to them because it's not bad to start flipping and landlording, okay? It's just not necessary. You don't have to spend 5 years flipping or landlording. You can get right into apartments. And that really is the message. You don't need experience and you don't need your own money. Within very short order, we can teach you how to overcome your lack of experience and your lack of money. So really, our vision is to help people become financially free. And in order to do that, we want to better serve our tribe of deal makers in everything that we do. We're going to be rolling out what we call the Deal Maker Journey because really it's a journey. It's not just about the first deal. It's a super important milestone, but there are other milestones that are equally important. For example, quitting your job. Obviously, that's also a very important milestone. But then what? What about scaling your portfolio? What about going from 3 deals to 10 deals? Going from 50 units to 1,000 units. That is a massive undertaking. And most people are just kind of, figuring these things out on their own. Have never scaled a business before. All of a sudden now they're faced with, what systems do I need? What software? What people? What best practices? How in the world do I scale a portfolio? We maybe can help with that. Also, how do we scale our marketing? How do we attract more investors? Because I can't meet with enough of them if I want to raise $5 or $10 million. And then also, at one point, how do we make a difference, right? We talk about moving from success to significance. What does that entail? What does that mean? Also, how do we passively invest our money? That becomes an issue when you start making money as well. So in other words, I would say a deal maker journey will take about 5 years, right? From basically where you are right now, all the way through to doing your first deal, quitting your job, scaling your portfolio, and essentially leaving your legacy. We want to define what that is so you can know what's ahead of you and you know what's entailed and you can recognize the mile markers. The key lessons today I want to leave you with is be intentional. Be intentional. So take time to reflect on the year. What has worked for you and what hasn't? A great book I read, I may have talked about it before, it's called Vivid Vision. And it really talks about being clear and maybe dreaming a little bit, not just 10 years. 10 years is too long of a time frame, but where do you see yourself in 3 years? And it's a great book to read and to really sit down in a quiet place. I usually do it during my miracle morning, and I spent 2 30-minute segments writing it, just writing it. And then I spent during the daytime just editing it. But the writing, when I'm in my most creative mode, is early in the morning. Write down where you want to be in 3 years. And that super simplifies the plan that you have for 2022, because now you can create your goals for 2022. And once you have your plans for 2022, create your quarterly plans, okay? So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Some things, like if you want to do your first deal in 2022, well, you're not going to do that in Q1, okay? You got to do some things first. You got to educate yourself. Maybe sign up for one of our programs, attend our event, someone else's event. So what are the things you can do? Surround yourself with the right people that sets you up for a deal maybe in the latter part of 2022. So really sit down and reflect, learn from yourself, be intentional. I think that's the biggest thing that it's missing. We're so busy these days that it really prevents us from being intentional. Whether it's, my kids being too busy with school. Like school is literally and school and sports are getting in their way of sitting down and being intentional of what they want. So we're encouraging them to set goals, and they're struggling with it because they're not used to it. And my sense is a lot of people have the same struggle with goals as well. So sit down and make some quiet time. And I use the Miracle Morning format. So if you haven't read the book by Hal Elrod, The Miracle Morning is on your list. Read that first before reading Vivid Vision. And it's just a great way. It gives you format for the first 30, 60 minutes of a day where you can be silent. You can visualize. You can read. You can script. And it doesn't have to be all those things, but you're very intentional about that, and it creates great clarity. The other thing that's helped me recently is I'm not a very good journal writer, and when I do it, it's dark in the morning, so I'm not writing in some paper journal. Plus, I can't write anymore. Like I can type 100 words a minute, but I cannot handwrite to save my life, right? So the thing that's helped me is the 5-minute journal. It's an app on both Android and Apple. The 5-minute journal, and just asks you some really simple questions. And if you upgrade, you pay like $5. You can actually modify the questions, and it just kind of forces you to be mindful. And I like that. Now, forces maybe a strong word, but it encourages you to be mindful. And I want you to reflect on this as the year comes to a close here and new year begins. Reflect on this in your miracle morning. What does freedom mean to you? We talk about financial freedom a lot. What does it mean to you? What would it mean to you, right? Make it real. State it in the present tense as an affirmation. What does financial freedom mean to you? And when you write that thing down, answer the next question. Why is that important? Okay, so there's a progression here. What does freedom mean to you? Well, that means I make more money, or I don't have to work anymore. Okay, well, what does that mean to you? Well, that means I have options. What is that? Why is that important to you? Well, that means I can spend more time with my family. Well, why is that important? And keep on going until you peel back the layers of the onion and you discover what it really means to you, to the point where you can no longer fail. You can no longer afford to fail in your pursuit of financial freedom. That's how low you got to go. And then share it on social media. Let us know on social media, hey, Michael, I heard you on the podcast and you asked me to share what financial freedom means to me. And this is what it means. And it could be a longer post. Just tag me on it. We're at The Michael Blanc on all Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and just tag us on there and just share it with the group. What does that mean to you? So whether it's your health, family, or your business, gratitude is at the key of everything that we do, because you can be grateful in good times and bad times. And I have learned that gratitude is something that comes from within you. You are not reliant on external factors. And a lot of times we in America call that happiness, right? So, stock market goes up, we're happy. Stock market goes down, we're sad. Well, gratitude is something that comes from within, and you can be grateful when the stock market's down, and you can be grateful when the stock market is up. So see if you can find gratitude for something in your life, and it will give you a great sense of calm and also a source of strength, so that you can pursue financial freedom and make a difference with others. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast, being part of our community of deal makers. Catch you next episode.